А ты удалил тут?
Да. Okay.
Ok, super. Nu, paldies par jūsu visu pacietību. Translācija mums arī ir. Iet, jā?
Jā, tagad.
Iet, visi redz. Super, sveiciens visiem, kas skatās online. Es gan neredzu, vai kāds redz, vai neredz online. Bet nekas, es vairāk vērsīšos pie klātesošajiem. Paldies par pacietību, ka uzgaidījāt. Motivēju visus paņemt drusciņu cukuriņu, lai noturētu fokusu uz prezentāciju. Viņa nebūs gara, bet idejiski mēs izrunāsim vairāk, kāpēc tā jūrniecības industrija ir tik svarīga mums visiem. Yeah? And we are going to do it in English because we have international viewers online and the industry is very international. All of our students work on international companies, international fleets. So, does everyone understand English? Yes? Good. So, if you will have any questions afterwards, clarifications, feel free to ask me. So, either way, let's start. Good afternoon, everyone here present in the classroom and also online. My name is Māris Cīrulis. I'm the Director of Education in Novikontas Maritime College. And today, less about the college, but more about, I want to talk more about one of the most powerful and influential CEOs in the world, which isn't someone you've heard in the news or business magazines like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. But this CEO still is responsible for assets worth billions of euros. They may manage a highly skilled international team and also make risky decisions every single day. Yes. And in fact, every single person in this room and also watching online trusts this CEO with their lifestyles, their comfort, and sometimes even their life. So it's very serious. So the question is, who are these people? And we'll get to that very shortly. But first, I want to talk about you guys, just to think briefly about your world, about the phone in your pocket, the shoes on your feet, what you ate for breakfast, the car your families are driving. How have you ever stopped to think about the incredible journey? Hello, welcome, sit down. About the incredible journey that all of these things took to get here. And most of us don't know because it's easy. We tap a button online in Amazon and the package arrives. We go to the stores and the shelves are full of fruits, cookies, and everything, everything's full. It just happens. But behind this sort of a magic, there is actually a global network or a system which is very complex. And the people who run this system are the actual CEOs of this. Here is the single most important number I want you to see. 90%. 90% of everything is transported by sea. everything. I mean, your clothes, electronics, fuel, everything. Food, the grain for your bread, microchips for your computers, and even medicine in pharmacies and hospitals. Everything's transported by sea. And here in Riga, very loud, sorry. But here in Riga, we see it every day. You saw the gates of Riga or the Riga Freeport. And during summertime, how many of you visited the beach here in Vecāki or Bolderāja? Did you go to the beach this summer? Anyone? So probably somewhere very far you see some small ships somewhere very far in the Gulf of Riga. But those ships aren't just passing by or just drifting. They are actually connecting Latvia to the world. And we are not talking here about small boats. We are talking about, floating cities of cargo. Because the largest ships today are over 400 meters long. And this is much bigger than the Eiffel Tower. But I assume not all of you have been in Paris and know how big is the Eiffel Tower. So let me put it in a different perspective. The ship itself, is worth around 150 million euros. A single ship can carry 20,000 containers full of goods and cargo. And that cargo can be worth billion euros. So essentially a single ship is worth more than billion euros, which is more than economic output of a single small city. So the ship is as big as Latgale or Zemgale or even Liepāja, not in size, but in the worth of it, in the economic output or GDP, So the question still remains, who is in charge of this floating billion euro city? And probably most of you are already guessed who they are. It's the captain, the chief engineer, and the deck and engine officers. These are men and women on the front lines of shipping. And they don't sit in an office somewhere. They have an office with a 360 view of the world's oceans. It's a beautiful view, a beautiful office. And when you are a 24-year-old second officer in 3 a.m. in the night, standing on the bridge in the middle of Baltic Sea, you are the CEO of that enormous city. And many of you may think, oh, okay, so they're steering a ship. That's no biggie. But actually, this is much more, because the experiences you get while working on ships provides you with a set of powerful skills that make you a better leader, better thinker, and more capable person in any situation, work or life. So it's the skills you gain are not meant only for working on board ships. First, you learn cross-cultural leadership, because your team will be from Philippines, Poland, India, Ukraine, Lithuania, from everywhere, all over the world. And you learn how to communicate, motivate, and lead a very diverse group of people towards a common goal, which is delivering the cargo on the ship. And this is a skill that actually here ashore many CEOs pay in training to acquire, because here in offices like Verde, you don't have access to a multicultural team. Everyone's more or less local. So this is a unique opportunity how to grow in this area. You also master real-time problem solving, because when an alarm sounds in a storm 100,000 miles from the land, there's no saying, let me think about this, or somebody will help me. No, you are the problem solvers there and there. Either it's emergency or any other case. and you have to assess the situation, weigh the options, and make a critical decision in minutes, usually. And this sort of should be done in calm, something similar to emergency response doctors do or firefighters. So seafarers build the same resilience there. Also, you practice data-driven decision making, which, to explain, you're not just guessing about weather. You're not looking at the weather forecast at TV3 to see, oh, tomorrow it's going to be raining, so it's not a good weather for work, or you should take an umbrella. There you need to critically analyze maps, weather data, predict what's going to happen, because weather-wise and other things-wise at sea, it's very important to predict how to avoid the storm before you get into the storm. And this is the same analytical skill a finance analyst or business strategist uses every day in other industries. And finally, you learn applied engineering and technology, because you're not just using technology, you're living with it. You understand, how massive complex systems on board engines, bridge systems operate, and you are the operator and also sometimes also the troubleshooter and maintainer. So you also get very high-level technical expertise there. So what I'm trying to say, these aren't just maritime skills, these are life skills. They prepare you obviously for the career at sea, but also they prepare you as a leader in other fields where you choose to transition after this one. But what does, this sort of responsibility truly mean if we are not trained enough, educated enough, or I don't know, let's do a quick futuring experiment. What if tomorrow all of the maritime CEOs or seafarers just stopped working? Ships just stopped. Let's imagine that. So within a week, all of our Rimi and Maxima shelves would be empty from fresh fruits, mostly. The bananas that come from South America somewhere, no more avocados, Then within 3 weeks, Neste and Circle K stations would start to run low on fuel. And also factories that manufacture things have to slow down because they don't get the essential parts coming in from Asia and other countries. And then within 2 months, the situation might become even more critical. Pharmacies, hospitals would start reporting shortages of essential life-saving medicines that are also manufactured overseas. So the world essentially would just stop turning. And that brings us to the most important point of this all, that this job isn't just about moving boxes from A to B. It's about actually saving lives. Because, people go into medicine because they want to save lives. And it's a very noble purpose, but a doctor saves one life at a time, from patient to patient. But a seafarer sort of saves society because they ensure the system that provides food, energy, and medicine continues its function. They provide the essentials for everyone else to work. And that is the purpose, that is the mission of seafaring. And I would say it's one of the most important jobs in the world, and most people don't even know it exists, unfortunately. So how do you become one of these global leaders? And many ask, is it even possible? Can I get there? It's not possible. I choose something more simple. No, the great thing about this industry is that the path is clear, fast, and very rewarding. You start as a cadet. You learn hands-on from experienced officers and in the educational institutions. Then you travel the world while also working and studying. You progress step by step. Third officer, second officer, chief officer, and eventually captain or chief engineer. And with each step, you sort of gain more knowledge, more skill, and more responsibility. And actually, a fun fact that the youngest captains nowadays can even be 28 years old. The learning and career growth path on board ships allows a 28-year-old person to become a captain. And here at Novikontas Maritime College, many of those students start this journey towards becoming a CEO, not the usual one, but the maritime one. Because we don't just prepare for a job, we prepare for the career, we ensure the career, that the people are capable to lead the teams and manage different situations. You will be experiencing a storm in our sea survival theater. You'll be navigating real ships on our state-of-the-art navigational bridge simulators. And you won't just learn about engine mechanics, you'll operate real engines and systems from our campus. And this is what the journey looks like. So I guess when you leave here, I hope you all see the world a bit differently, both everyone in the classroom and also online. Because when you see a ship in the Gulf of Riga, you won't just see now a small boat. You will see a vital piece of global economy commanded by trusted professionals, maritime CEOs, right? And I know choosing what to do after school is probably one of the biggest decisions everyone has to make. Somebody has already made that decision. Somebody is now thinking about it. But if you are looking for more than just a job, if you want sort of a purpose, adventure, and a career with real global impact, I strongly encourage everyone to consider maritime. Thank you, everyone. My name is Māris. I'm happy to answer any questions that are online. Tatiana, are you following online? Any questions or from the auditory here before we move to the open discussions on maritime myths and stereotypes? So, does anyone have any questions about this part? Did it somehow inspire you in a way? Or was it how you viewed the maritime industry before this lecture? Because many don't. We don't have any questions online as well, Tatiana?
We have two questions about stereotypes.
And then we can move to the next part.
Yeah.
What were the questions?
The first question was about the sea is not for women. So that was the first stereotype.
Okay, that's I've heard that before. Have you? What do the people here think? Who thinks it's not meant for female?
Depends on vessel.
Depends on vessel. Why?
Well, if you're talking about like a Roro or like a cruise vessel, of course it's female. It's part female there. But if you're talking about like tank, crude oil, I didn't saw any woman there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you didn't see. Yes.
I didn't see, but didn't because it's a hazardous. It's hard job.
Yeah,
and,
because and it's obvious we want to protect maybe women more or what, but those are all just historical assumptions, and those are basically stereotypes. Because usually when we talk about female seafarers, there are two topics that come up. First of all, many people say it's male dominant industry, and another group says that this industry is not welcoming of women. And these are actually two different parts. And if I need to break this stereotype, if the industry is male dominant, yes, it is. Unfortunately, that's just pure numbers. Only 2 to 3% of all seafarers are female. So that's huge dominance from the male side. So That is a fact. It is male dominant. But is it unwelcoming of women? I would say rather not, because in the past years, the industry has moved and effortlessly changed. First of all, workload wise, many ships become more digital. The systems are, there is less manual work at some parts of the ship. And also, being a seafarer, you saw the skills I showed you before. It's not about how well you can tie the knot only. It's also about decision making, problem solving, leadership, communication, teamwork. So these are the skills that everyone has. Yes.
I had experience with one master in one vessel. He was old school master. He's around 65, 70 years old.
Many of those.
Yeah. And he was very skinny guy, like very, very, how to say, very skinny. And during when vessel was going inside in the port, we had second officer, female woman. She was young, 25, maybe 20, 30 years old. And then we go inside in the port, yeah. And during when we make these vessels who bring us to exactly to port, he kicked out these women out from bridge. He said, "Go away," because by his opinion, his stereotypes was what vessel is jealous on a woman if it is on a bridge during maneuvering. But during maneuvering, he just said, "Hey, you can go, just go away." And
This is crazy.
once when she stayed there, she just like, "Why I have to go?" Start complaining about it. And we have a problem with maneuvering. One of the ropes was like damaging a rope, and he said, "You see, it's like my opinion. It's like a black mark when during maneuvering in the bridge of woman." I don't know how this was. Maybe it was just casual situation. Maybe, but he said never again.
Which port it was?
Huh?
Which port it was?
It was Amsterdam.
Yeah, because nowadays, so I remember there's a lot of female pilots, especially in Netherlands. So what he will do in that case? He will request the pilot to leave the bridge.
Well, unfortunately, there are these cases. There is no scientific or logical explanation of the fact why that captain did that, because his decision was made purely on a stereotype or it's similar to being afraid of ghosts.
Well,
there's no logical explanation. Some people also mention, a female officer made a mistake, but everyone makes a mistake.
Yeah.
And there are much more also male seafarers that make the same mistakes, only some crews view it differently. If a woman makes a mistake, it's very something huge. If a man makes a mistake, this is like, oh, men make mistakes, that's acceptable. So these are the boundaries actually that we need to break in order to make the maritime industry more inclusive, and it's happening. More educational institutions are welcoming women. The focus has shifted also in the shipping companies. They focus also more on recruiting women. And also not only recruiting just to get the numbers up, but also ensuring that the facilities on board ships and the essentials that women need, that the working environment is suitable for everyone. And that's what industry, how is it changing? Look at it. We have, I don't know how many billion people on the planet. Half of those people are female. So if we talk about an industry where we focus only on males, how can we ensure that we have enough seafarers if we just neglect half of the population? So that's just crazy, So I'm happy to say that the industry is changing and more welcoming to women than ever. And there are even good examples and also experimental examples where there is full female crew or half female crew. So a whole ship where only females work. And there are studies showing performance, efficiency-wise, those ships have worked the same, if not even better than male-led ships.
How many females Novikontas got in college?
Now, currently, I think 4,
Oh, and how many men?
around 200.
Why is that?
It's about the attraction. This is why we do this. We need to educate people because that's the stereotype. If I'm I don't know, Jolanta, did you consider going into maritime when you were choosing where to go study?
No, I didn't know it existed.
You see, it existed. And if you know, even if you know if it exists, you have the second question. Can I work there? And that's the stereotype most of the world has, that, well, if I'm a female, then I cannot work there because it's a male dominant world. It requires muscles and strength, and all that's not possible.
Can I ask a question to you, Jolanta?
Yes.
If you will get a second chance, would you go? No.
I don't know, but once I started working here, it some time crossed my mind. It was like, oh, it's a really nice job. You can travel world, blah blah blah. But yeah, there's a lot of factors I should look at before making the decision. I don't know.
It's not for everyone. You cannot ask one person that question. But it's how, if people who are making those decisions, if majority see this industry as welcoming, not as closed.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, I know. Don't try to say that it's not for women. I mean, I'm just asking.
This is a discussion. That's why we need to have those opinions. But the thing we need to do is show that the industry is actually welcoming, so that this stereotype is gone, and also ensure that the work environment is suitable also for women, because there are nuances that we're long periods away, etc. So you need certain arrangements also work environment wise. And once all of that is in place, we're welcoming and the environment is perfect, which is happening, I don't see any reason why any other factors why there should be even this discussion. Anyone else wants to comment? Anything?
I think that the employers also want to see in senior positions more men than women.
It's also happening ashore, not only maritime, maybe.
Especially if you are talking about, for example, if you are going for a surgery, yeah, you need to ask a question. You want to have a surgeon, female or male?
Whatever.
For most of the people, it's not
a competent person.
Yeah, the same stereotype. The same here. Employers want to see in the senior positions, decision makers, that this position is occupied by men.
A problem all of the world is facing. Either way, I think we can close this stereotype and state that currently the maritime industry is very suitable for both female and males to grow and become leaders, CEOs, wherever. Another question, Tatiana?
Seafarers are rich.
Seafarers are rich.
Yeah, another stereotype that the person wrote to us. But yeah, seafarers are rich.
Are you all rich? Who is a seafarer?
Elon Musk? No, we are not.
Why are you not rich?
I mean, equal Elon Musk.
Okay.
The word rich depends on the type the person wants to live the life. For somebody, €1 billion is a pocket change. For somebody, €100 is I can live all year on €100. So the word rich is.
Okay, let me put this in this question in another way. Those who are working or have worked already in the industry or have already chosen this industry, how big was the salary topic factor for you in making this decision to go into maritime? Was money one of the factors?
70%.
I agree. Yeah. So
because time is money. money is time. So why would I
Yeah,
waste
so
it?
when choosing a profession, basically you looked at where you can get paid more and what are the opportunities. And this came up. Okay. Anyone else feels differently?
It's one of the easiest way how to get well paid.
Why is it easy?
Because you just complete your studying process, get job as a even junior or third officer or engine force engineer, and then you get your money comparing with mostly comparing with your some classmates or your friends around you. You are actually you're good paid guy comparing with them. But then later on, when
In the beginning.
yes,
In the beginning.
on the beginning,
So
then you have to wait when you will become a captain, okay, chief officer. Then you again, you will have this gap.
yeah, and that's actually the thing. Many, we now discuss how rich are seafarers, but how do we see what is rich? Is it only money, first of all, and how long of a period we see? Who is rich now or after graduation, or who becomes rich as they age and ensure their family? So it needs to be viewed differently, because I would say that no seafarer can get rich easily. I would counteract that, because you can get rich, or it's not even rich. You can get well paid after graduation, but you still need the motivation, the skills, the continuous development, and career growth to become maybe rich, whatever that is. I don't know where is the end point. What is rich? For me, there is no such number, or I wouldn't know where is the end. But still, it remains either maritime or any other industry. If you're not motivated and passive and don't do anything, probably you won't get rich. But if you're motivated, you can get rich probably both in maritime, maybe faster, maybe not. That's debatable. I agree that the entry point is higher salary than country's average. But is it rich? Maybe not. Maybe yes. I don't know.
Stable, well paid job.
Stability. That's what I would. That's what I would approve, because maritime industry is essentially you even don't need to wait until you graduate. The first milestone which you need to overcome is getting into first internship or first sea practice. That's the hardest point to get a job, basically. If you get it and you prove yourself, then you can start growing with the company basically instantly. And only when you graduate, you just get another promotion, and then you move on. But again, the motivation and discipline and how you behave and how you grow as a person are essential factors to ensure that. So it's not that maritime industry can just gives you money. You need, if you want to get paid well continuously and grow and get paid even more, then it's all possible. But it requires that motivation and
It requires discipline, not motivation, I think.
it's a combination. There's no one factor that can ensure you success.
Because motivation comes and goes. If you're not disciplined, I don't know. Nothing will help.
It can go hand in hand. Why not?
It's the same like in sport. I also consider that it's not about motivation, it's about your discipline, how you can manage your time
As well.
and effectiveness.
Do we have any other questions?
We have three to make. So one of them is the excellent job. Thanks, Māris, for the interesting content. Second, I completed my STCW training at Novikontas, and it's an outstanding training center. And one more. Flying Dutchman sails around Cape of Good Hope and sends other ships to cliffs.
Is it a question?
I'm not sure. But I guess you have to understand this joke or whatever it is.
I didn't.
But Okay.
I'm not that deep into into all the metaphors, but still, from previously what we've discussed, I have few more sort of stereotypes, and one is that it's an incredibly dangerous job. What do you think?
Depends.
On what?
On ship type. But
The comment.
if we compare with the shore-based job, yes, it's dangerous.
Yeah, because your ambulance is always available.
There's additional help. Yeah.
Yeah, and the atmosphere on board the vessel is dangerous because you're around the sea, you're around the closed environment, yes, and
Mm-hmm.
you cannot, call, as Ernest told, for immediate assistance, yes, in case of something. And you have, let's say, permanent people around you for 2, 4, 6 months.
Conflict
and you cannot
arises.
change,
You cannot choose those
you
people
cannot
around
choose,
you.
yes.
Oh.
In this case, yes, it's
Yeah, the question actually I can elaborate. The comment about it being dangerous was meant towards that you can I don't know, get injuries or be involved in accidents, even fatalities in maritime more often than anywhere else. That was more or less the comment on that. So if you view it, obviously the environment is high risk environment. You have many dangers around lurking. But if we talk about the incident rate, I would say that maritime industry is actually one of the most heavily regulated industries in the world, safety-wise. And if we would take the incidents and compare those to construction or even agriculture, I don't know. I know at least those two industries have higher injury rates and accidents than maritime. So it's heavily regulated through ISM, company procedures, IMO, and etc. The teams on board are educated to do risk assessments constantly. Safety drills are done constantly. So actually, the maritime environment, in my opinion, is very safe if you compare it to others. If all of the people are willing and able to put their contribution in safety culture, and but incident rate, if we talk about pure numbers, it's less than construction and agriculture incident rate. So it's what you take, what's dangerous. There is this discussion: which animal is more dangerous, an elephant or a shark? And if you view against stereotypes, you would say, okay, shark, because you have these Jaws movies and everything, and they kill people all the time. But if you check death rate by animals, the sharks are very low in the ranking, and you have even dogs and horses way above that, which are basically pets and housekeeping animals. They are responsible for more human deaths than sharks. So what is dangerous after all? Where are the biggest risks?
It's because of the case numbers, yeah. Let's say how many people, how to call it, meet the sharks in the open world.
Yes.
100, 200, 1,000. How many people meet the dogs on the daily basis? So it's very, very dependable.
Mm-hmm. But when we compare industries, they are measured very good. They are measured like incident rate per 100 employees or something like that. So it's not that construction has more employees than seafarers, therefore they have more incidents. It's measured differently.
The rate. Same with the airplanes. It's the most safe way of transportation. Yeah, but if something happens, it's usually with very high stakes. Yeah.
Yes.
The same with the maritime industry. There's a lot of examples, say, like stalled vessel in Korea, and not so many years ago, and there is completely disaster. Very high demand industry, that's why. It depends on the vessel, of course, the type of the vessel.
Okay, anyone else wants to add about safety or incidents in? Okay. I have another sent in, which was about a very actually important topic now discussed everywhere, which is environment. Saying shipping is a dirty industry and bad for our environment. What do you think? Is shipping dirty?
It's a strange question, actually. And what type of dirty?
What type of vessel are you talking about?
I think one lithium mine does more damage than 10,000 ships. So,
Well, how do you take? You saw the numbers. 90% of everything we have is transported by sea. So that's a very huge amount of transportations and ships globally. Everyone who has opened marine traffic, here in Riga you see like 1-2 vessels, but if you open a map, it's like a ant nest or spider nest. It's a very huge number of ships, and obviously environmentally it does impact because we still use petroleum in engine. So it's if we talk about greenhouse gases and CO2 emissions, this transportation sector is so big that obviously it has a huge impact, and probably much bigger than a lithium battery. But still, it accounts for probably 2%. It's somewhere near airline industry as well. So they produce about the same 2-3% of greenhouse gases. Shipping, as opposed to I think road, like cars on the streets and trucks, they produce like 10%. So it's much bigger greenhouse gases and CO2 emissions there. Therefore, I don't know. I would say that it's not dirty, again, because of the regulations. We have MARPOL and many regulations regulating that you cannot even throw a bottle in the sea. Everything's separated in containers, given to the shore facilities when the ship is in port. The emissions are regulated by regulating ship speed and revolutions of the engine. We are now transitioning to alternative fuels as well, and we have the same goals as other industries to become net zero by 2050. So it's a separate debate how and if it will be achieved, but that's where the industry is moving, to reduce those emissions. So if we say that it's not dirty, we might be false, because we still have a certain percentage of the greenhouse gases produced by shipping. But if we say how it's regulated and where it's going, I would say it's not a dirty industry. Comments? Oppositions? Okay. What else I have from these? Seafarers are disconnected and lonely for years and years. What do you think about this?
depends on the person.
Probably. But as a stereotype of the industry.
No, it's not.
No? Why not?
Because when you spend in 1-2 months, it's okay. You can get used to it, because for 1 month you are still at home, and another month you just got your job. But if you stay more than 6 months, it's get like lonely, and And if you can't find any facilities or any leisure what you can do for yourself, I mean, like gym or communication with.
And that's something you said. Depends on what you do.
Yeah,
how you.
But you know, when you saw one face, I mean, 20 same faces, yeah, in during the 6 months, yeah, these faces you start, you know. Of course, if this depends on relationship, if all crew is good communication, I mean, nobody is like a bad person, it's okay. But some of the crew members, especially if it is going in officers, they've got like a crown in the head. Yeah, and they start thinking sometimes, I'm not saying with all of them, but sometimes they start thinking that they've got a half head of top, and it can be quite, you know, especially if relationships start, you know, get sharp, and it can be quite, quite. I don't
Okay.
know, psychical. And you have to, you know, try to find out a way, I mean, how to get your mind busy with
Occupied,
something else. Yeah, because going to gym, for example, or read the books, or because watching movies is not clear.
Yeah. Well, yes, I would also sort of, this comment I would split it in two, because there's word disconnected and lonely. And if we try to break these stereotypes, I probably wouldn't be able to break the stereotype lonely. Maybe some of us are lonely. Some person can get lonely quicker. Some people enjoy loneliness in a way. So it's very debatable how seafarers deal with that, and it's a factor that obviously you might experience at sea. So that stereotype I cannot break. However, if we talk about disconnectivity, I would say it's very much connected now. We have 100, 200 megabits per second internet on all ships.
Also, I would like to make a remark. It also depends on vessel. Because if you got like a long voyage for 30 days or for 20 days, you know, and you're going to the port and you can't see different, I mean, like a port land, different people, so you can
socialize.
Yeah, socialize. Yeah, it's quite hard.
Yeah.
You're going, for example, port to port for like 2-3 days, you know, like in Europe, yeah, or somewhere, you have this communication with different people. It's much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sort of can let the steam off, at least communicate with other people. Socializing is important. It's a separate topic that needs to be, that people also within the ship's team need to be more socially active between themselves. And also the port calls are important if you get the chance to socialize or go to
the most important thing, what is really exhausting at sea, is the schedule.
Schedule,
routine, and you don't have holidays, you don't have breaks, you cannot even go if you are especially an officer. And you have cargo watch, you can go to relax, because after some 4 hours you need to go on duty again. And it's really exhausting thing when you are especially if you get cabotage vessels, and you have every day of new port or every second day of new ports. It's very, very tough job. Even for 1 month, it's a very prolonged period of time for such load. And this is why people really they overburn at sea, and they start to, we know the common problem is drinkage, yeah? At sea, very, very big problem. That's why there is a lot of dry vessels, because brain cannot handle such amount of stress.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think the industry need to think about.
Well, alcohol-wise, it's regulated, you know, sort of also workload is regulated, and actually...
On the paper, it's regulated.
On the paper, but also you have, you know, the employer know how tough is the job. That's why in offshore you have smaller, it's not just because we are good in offshore, so we have smaller contracts. No, because the workload and the job specifics is much tougher there. Therefore, the contracts are shorter. However, on a huge commercial vessel, it again depends. You can go on an ocean voyage for 3 weeks and you have very low workload. or you're sitting on an anchor. So
not like that. You're doing the other things. You do paperwork, you do maintenance of the ship, you prepare for the inspection. For example, if it was a discharge operations, you perform a tank cleaning. And tank cleaning after some cargoes, if you have a high requirements, you can manage it for 2 weeks in a row. And then you have a loading operations. And for example, a chief officer who works 3 months in a row in such schedule, in such writing, would say,
well, that's why they get 3 months off afterwards as well.
It's not working like that. You cannot rest in advance.
Not in advance. After that,
No,
you know.
anyways, you cannot rest in advance. You go after that for 3 months again, and after 1 week you feel already tired. Because if you start like that and it's continuously without interruptions, only people who was working on such schedule can understand. Because people who are working like 1 port, 2 weeks voyage, again 1 port, again 2 weeks voyage, we're speaking in different languages. You cannot understand until you experience this.
Yes, but it depends, and
especially for
I would.
employers in office, you cannot feel it. You need to feel it.
I don't agree, because in the office you also have high workload, and there are industries where you need to work for 12 hours also not being on the ship. So it really is about the not specifically maritime issue. It's also personal issue, how you manage your sleep, your habits, your work. Are you
in the office you have interruptions.
You
don't have rolling at night. You don't have rolling at night. You don't have noises at night. Nobody is calling you, let's say, in general. You have holidays, Saturday, Sunday. You are not inside of the tank with plus 50 degrees for 3 days in a row, when all salts and all vitamins with the sweat are going out of your body. You are even feeling it physically. And I'm not talking about mental things. About sleeping and distractions with the sleep and etc. etc. It's not the same thing. Sitting on the table is one story.
Gladly nobody sits on the table, but
in office everybody sits on the table on the desk. So it's completely. The sea is not a friendly environment. It's a very tough environment anyway. That's the fact. It's not you cannot compare it with the working ashore. Maybe in the construction, of course, or.
I would say that if I put in a construction worker next to you, he would also argue why that's a much tougher job than maritime, and why maritime is. This is a different debate.
That's what I'm saying. Different languages. Only people who were experiencing it, they can understand on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're closing the hour with probably one more thing to discuss. Do we have any questions online? None? What else? I don't know. We touched about drinking. So all of the seafarers drink rum.
No?
Depends.
I don't know. You tell me.
Depends on the vessel.
Depends what they've got.
Depends on what they've got. So, yeah, there is, at least those who haven't worked in maritime probably think there are a lot of stereotypes or myths coming from movies, both about drinking pirates, pirates as a whole, which is also actually a topic we could discuss. Seafarers having wives in different ports and those sort of things. Those are more sort of Hollywood sketches, I would say, because although rum has an important history in maritime, because it was used as a substitute for water, which on very long time ago, on those wooden ships, the water on board when you're sailing for several months would go bad. It would get bacteria and etc., and you couldn't drink it or you get ill. So they instead of water they used alcohol, which later was also turned into rum, and basically all the crew was dispensed a few portions every day for this matter. It basically was, but it was forbidden like already for quite some time now, and they don't use alcohol for this matter because fresh water is available on board everywhere. You also have sparkling water also, which you get in ports, and most of the tanker fleets and other fleets are regulated with no alcohol policies. You get drug and alcohol testing before you go on board. Then you have occasional testing while you are on board. So basically it's zero alcohol policy, but it depends probably also on the type of the fleet. Somewhere it's still allowed to get beers or soft or wines and etc. Somewhere maybe even heavy spirits, but it's not a tradition that all of the seafarers do while on board. Seafarers go working, ensuring safety, and partying and drinking comes later, probably during vacation. That's how you need to separate that to ensure safety. And yeah.
People say that it's an excellent presentation.
Cool. Thank you very much. How many people are there online?
Right now, currently 6. But we have
Very good.
12.
It's a very good job for the first time, for our first time. Thank you everyone who was online. Thank you everyone who was in the classroom. I will wrap it up. I hope this was valuable for some of you or most of you. For those new to the industry, it maybe showed a different perspective of the industry. For those already working in the industry, it maybe reminded you of what this is actually about. And hope this helps in making further decisions in your careers and education training choices. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Live stream is